Hello, everybody. Today we are showing featured entries from the July Art Dare, and we are also announcing the September Art Dare. If you would like to grow as an artist and you can't afford an art class, we've got everything you need here at Art Prof: critiques, tutorials, and professional development. The July Art Dare was to create some form of a book, zines, bookbinding, however you wanted to interpret a book. And the first artist, who I believe is here in the chat, is Elvira. And Elvira talks about in the artist statement that they made concertina books from cheap paper. Nice thing about concertina books, I can pull them out, look at all the options at once. Struggling to wrap my head around abstract art. Alvera says, some abstract art just looks like a chaotic mess to me in these books. I explored compositions for abstract art. Well, what do you think, Mia, of Elvera's books?
I think it's a really genius way to explore a theme that you haven't worked with before. I think that jumping into something big and well-rounded and well thought out can be super daunting. So I always prefer to work smaller and work in a series kind of format. And I think that that's what you're doing here. And by exploring these abstract compositions in a small way, when you unfurl them out, that's an entire abstract piece in and of itself. This big book that you can cascade around the floor and things like that. So I really like this idea and means of looking into something new.
I just am in love with the diversity, Elvira. I mean, I'm looking here, the lower right-hand corner. I mean, there's something scientific happening in there. I don't understand it exactly. It's a little hard to see, obviously, in the photo. But then you look at how expressive some of these other ones are. These look very impressionistic. This is very blunt, very harsh black strokes. And then Mia, I love the patterning. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, just the variation of mark making and color and way of expression is so exciting to see sort of where your mind went throughout these images. So I think that the book is a great way to share those ideas with an audience.
I've actually never heard of a concertina book. I guess I've heard about accordion books, but I definitely learned a lot about different book formats that I had never thought about. So, Alvera, I'm so happy you shared these work in progress images showing us how the books can be put together is fantastic. Let's take a look at the next artist. This is Sal DeVito, and Sal explains he made two books. One is drawn and co-written with my dad about how we adopted our black and white dog Scout. The second one is about the life of the Virgin Mary. Isn't that so cool that Sal did two stories and how different they are?
Yeah, I love how, the prompt can spur and inspire all these different ways of thought, like a dog and then the Virgin Mary. Who would have who would have connected those two, and yet they exist now. It's super cool.
I just love the sequence on the left-hand side. That face is making me laugh. And then seeing him in the kitchen, this interaction with the other dog, it's just such a charming story. I mean, aren't these compositions so good for a book? They're very diverse.
Absolutely. And there's the way that you're flat coloring them and the line work. It's very simple, but it's so effective and evocative in saying this is the story and everyone can read what's going on. So I think it's super successful. Also, good binding skills, too. That must have been like lots of internet research on how to do that.
I just love these characters. I mean, sometimes we think about characters in the context of character design, but when you put it in the context of a narrative book, it again is extremely important. And we've got some nice comments. Some Angelic says, good, good, Popper. Clementine says, the dog's friend shaped. Carolyn says, who's a good boy? I was never a dog person, but some of you know that we have Buddy now, and I just adore him so much. I mean, Mia, you've got rabbits.
Oh yeah, I mean, but you know, rabbits will only let you hold them for so long. Dogs are always there.
And now we have a book on the Virgin Mary. And as we know, people have been interpreting the Bible for centuries. And here we have a reinterpretation of the story in 2023. What do you think?
I think it's cool. I mean, I think that these stories are always rendered differently through the eyes of different artists. And I think that it's cool to see how you interpret it and how you, realize that interpretation through your own style. And, you see, I like the depictions in stained glass around things. I think those are really beautiful, but it's cool to be able to hold something in your hand and flip through it and get the story that way. So super cool.
Another thing I'll note is I really like that Sal did handwritten text, because I know with digital, a lot of people will print out the text. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, sometimes you need that, especially if there's just tons of text that you need to do. But to me, that handwritten text, I guess I'm just old fashioned. It just feels more human to me. Is that weird?
I always love handwritten text because it connects to the artwork as well. Like it's always kind of going to be on theme with the images because it's the same hand. And I think that's really charming.
I love the donkey. His hair too.
I was going to say.
And it's funny because we know that Joseph and Mary are the main people, but it's such a great example that you can have a side character that really brings a lot to the story. And little props, like I think these are 2 vases to represent the wedding. And I just think it's beautifully done, Sal. Next artist is Catherine, who I believe is here live with us in the chat. We love it when you guys are here. And Catherine watched our video on Lotus books. And Catherine says, I love the 3D sculptural element. I had a book full of watercolor swatches I'd saved. Wow. And Catherine says, I cut out 1,000 swatches, of which 600 were used. All right. So we have, this is the book all folded up. This is the Lotus fold. Here is the book being taken apart. Oh my gosh. Can you believe this scene?
This is such a great photo as well. All of these like photos are blowing my mind. This is so much work. Your hands must hurt so badly.
What I love about the color swatches is that they're not all perfect. Every single one is a slightly different shape. I'm guessing the cutout is a slightly different shape. So it's really cool how there's definitely an organizational aspect to how Catherine organizes, but it's also, again, has that human touch.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone could have organized these swatches in a different way, too. So it's the swatches were already existing somewhere else, and you're just bringing them into a different context and making it your own. And I really love that. Oh, it's so satisfying to look at. It's so satisfying.
And Catherine, what lovely photos. 3D artwork is very tricky to shoot well, and these just look fantastic. Catherine explains, I definitely had a cramp in my wrist. Well, it was worth all that work, because the other thing, Mia, is that I don't think people understand how much work goes into the craftsmanship.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it might look easy to see a final photo like this and say, oh, it's, it's just a book. I can pose it and whatever. But you have to think about the lighting. You have to think about the creases in your pages, making sure everything's neat and not messy. And I think that it takes maybe half of the time creating and then half of the time executing all those little details and making it clean and perfect. So you nailed it. I love it, Catherine.
Also, this is a minor thing, but I think it's a huge impact, is those black lines, because I feel like, Catherine, if you didn't have the black lines, the swatches might be too chaotic, and the black lines help solidify the various pieces. It gives some structure to to the swatches, but it doesn't take over. I feel like if the black lines were very thick, that probably wouldn't work so well. C-Box says, great work. Tell us about the binding, please. Well, if you go to artprof.org and you type in Lotus into the search bar, you will find the video that Catherine was looking at for this book. Clementine says, love how well you captured the yellow in the photos. Yellow tends to be finicky. And Lisa explains, Catherine's photo quality stands out. This is just stunning. The fact that we see the horizontal version, we see the vertical version, I think is just fantastic. We've got some prizes to give out. The honorable mention goes to Sal DeVito. Congratulations. And our prize winner is Catherine. Thank you all for participating, for supporting and encouraging each other. That to me is one of the most amazing parts of the art dares, is the way everybody invests into everybody's process. We've got the September art dare to announce. And Mia, you and I have been a little bit on a Bling roll. And so that is the September art dare, is to create an artwork using some type of material that has some version of Bling, whether that's pearlescent and iridescent paint. You could use aluminum foil, glitter, gems, gold leaf. There's a million glittery things actually just in your house. You don't necessarily have to go to the art store to find these things. So I'm wondering, Mia, how did you get started with the Bling?
Well, as the slide, you might be able to infer from the slide, but I did a little tarot deck project and I wanted something to really, add an extra kick to the images. So I found this gold leaf paint and I started using it and it destroyed a lot of my brushes. So be wary of using precious brushes for this. But I really loved how it shined and it added another dimension to the images. And I just love gold now. You'll rarely find me using silver or other colors as of right now, but gold is like very precious to me and I always have fun with it. So yeah, it's cool.
What's happening here?
Oh, it's cool. So Stuart Semple is an artist who makes like the world's blackest black and the pinkest pink. And I was sent a vial of the goldest gold to try out. And this is just a little process video of me pouring the paint and getting a feel for it. And it's actually acrylic paint, but it shines and glimmers like some sort of metallic thing. And it's really cool. So it was cool to mess around with. And I used it as an underpainting layer for some other oil paintings. And it's a cool effect.
I would not anticipate putting it as an underpainting, because I always thought about Bling as something you add on top of the paint. And so what was the difference using it as an underpainting?
It was a big difference. I had that mindset too about using it almost as an ornament at the end, or like a little bling, ta-da, and that's all I've used it for. And then I had this vial of paint and first of all, I just wanted to see it big on a canvas just to see what that looked like. And then I had this idea of painting things over it and having gold shine through and light shining through. And I think it makes a big difference. It's cool to see it in that way. So experiment with your materials and use them in unexpected ways. It's fun.
Tell us in the chat, who here has used some version of Bling, whether it is glitter glue, which I bought too much of. I didn't actually end up using it in the end. And you know what? This was on sale. I just had to get it. I was like, oh, it's $3. Of course, I didn't use it either. But tell us what you have all used, because, oh my gosh, Mia, when you start buying Bling, it's all over for you.
Well, it's really funny because I remember when I had you as a teacher in pre-college, you were like, I hate glitter. Glitter's horrible. I don't like Bling. And now look at you. Look at what has happened to you.
It's so out of control. For real. I went into Michael's and I was like, I'm just going to try glitter glue. And I was doing a red painting. So I thought, okay, I'll just buy one. And I came out with all of this, and this isn't even counting the stuff I use. This is the leftovers. And so I'm going to warn you all that it does get extremely addictive. Because Mia, I always thought about bling as being really cheesy and really garish looking, but you managed to make it so refined.
I don't know if it's refined. I think it just makes me happy. I think that I try and use it in a way that, complements the rest of the piece instead of really taking over. And maybe I'm only half successful with that, but I think when it works, it really works and is effective. So, go overboard, go underboard, just go on the board and try it out.
We've got a lot of people. Ginger says birthday cards, metallics. Carolina as well. Karasu says body glitter. And Sun Angelic says pearlescent and metallic planes. I know, it's so much glitter. Like, what am I going to do with this? I tried it and it was sort of ugly. And the reason I didn't like it is because the glitter pieces were exactly the same. And so I ended up buying this acrylic gel medium that had mica flakes in it. And that looked way better than the glitter. We also have Ellen Doy, who says iridescent acrylic paint. Manette says metallic colors. And Lisa says blingy paper. And Clementine says metallic markers and paints. Oh my gosh. I get really uptight about the bling. I redid the bling because at one point I was going to do a double border of pearl and it didn't look good. And so I peeled it all off. And then I added this slightly blue bling. And you know something, it's hard to get just the right color that you want because I went to the store. I actually bought 2 different types of blue. Here, I can show you here. Maybe you can't see it, but one of the blues is a little bit darker. The other one's a little bit lighter. And I just assumed that the light one was going to look better, but actually the dark one looked better. There was something about the light one, it looked a little bit green. Have you noticed that the color thing is tricky?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've never really used bling in beads or gems like you've kind of been experimenting with, but I can imagine the amount that I would have to buy and test out might be overwhelming. So it's really, really neat to see how it all comes together and how many different combinations and sizes you have to mess with as well.
Well, there's a really good point here that people are talking about in terms of photographing bling. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Somebody said to me, I love the pink glitter. I'm like, it's not pink because it's just so hard. And you can see it's pink here as well. And oh my gosh, I love your mom that she always comments. Nature has glitter all around it. When you look for it, I think adds such dimension and life to artwork too. Ask Amelia about bling and Irish dance. What is that?
Well, thank you, Mom. I did competitive Irish step dancing for like 11 years. And we had to do, it was basically performance art and costuming. And so the dresses were really elaborate and had crazy beads and bling to them. And then we had to do the wigs and the hair with the sparkly crowns and glitter makeup and everything. And, wasn't really my vibe at the end, but it was crazy. It was a crazy world to be a part of.
Cool. Karen says, hoping to go to Vienna to see the ultimate bling painting in Klimt's omelet. In case you missed it, Jordan thinks The Kiss by Klimt looks like an omelet, and now I can't unsee that. Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's your phone case?
That's my phone case. That video came out, and I was like, how am I going to tell Jordan that it's my phone case? I love Klimt. I love Klimt a lot. Yeah, huge inspiration. Yeah.
Shannon says, I've been wanting to try metallic watercolors, but keep pushing it off. This might just be the push I need. Well, we hear a lot from people that the Art Dare is a really nice nudge. And it's also a way to structure your time because you have the entire month to work on it. And I think, Mia, sometimes it's just hard to keep yourself accountable.
Yeah, and I'm always looking for excuses to like try new mediums and new things. And so a little prompt like this and knowing that other people are trying it as well, it can kind of ease the way and open the door a little bit and say, okay, like I'm going to pull the trigger and actually do it and make something. And it might work, it might not, but you're trying something new and that's exciting.
Well, we do have a question here because actually the technical side of Bling can be a little bit complicated. So this Bling you're seeing here, you buy it as a big strip. And it's nice because you just peel the whole thing. I mean, oh my gosh, if you had to do one individually, I would die. But the thing is, the sticky stuff on the back of the beads, it's not good. And so I've had to actually use crazy glue and not been able to rely on the sticky stuff underneath the gems. So you do have to figure out an adhesive that really is going to work for you. And have you really had to deal with adhesive? Because mostly you're using paint, right?
Yeah, I've never really had to deal with that because I don't like that kind of stuff. It becomes a hindrance to me after a while. But yeah, it blows my mind when you see fashion designers, bedazzling an entire dress in like 2 hours. It's crazy. It's really impressive.
Now, I know everybody has a different budget. And honestly, the pearlescent watercolors I had tried in the past were not good. They were super weak and the pigment wasn't very vibrant. But then I went to this art store in Japan, which it really will blow your mind. I know you see that all the time on YouTube, but this really will. And I bought this wonderful set of fine tech pearlescent watercolors, and you can get these in the US. They're pricey, so you do have to be a little bit careful about your budget. But I did do a stream where I demoed all of these various color swatches, and some of them were really surprising. The opal colors that you see here, they look white. And I was like, oh, they're going to be opally. And this was so green. Like, would you ever imagine that such a vibrant green would look like that?
I want to try them so badly. I'm so jealous. I want to go to the store. I want to buy the store. Oh.
This was my favorite Bling. So does everybody see here? This is brown, okay? But that color, when you move it, it's green. Do you see? That part is this part.
I'm going to cry. I want that so badly. Oh my God. That's so satisfying.
Ginger says we could do this with 3D as well. I think I have glittery clay. Do it, Ginger. That would be so exciting. Oh, I can't wait to see all the materials, Mia, because it's just so fun.
I'm gonna be so happy. This is one of those art dares that just makes me happy even thinking about it. So the entries are just gonna be delightful.
Really nice comment from Seven Angelic, who says acrylic gel medium will work really well too. Yeah, because if I ever end up using this glitter, I guess my first impulse was, oh, I should just paint glue on the surface. But the mica flakes that I bought, it wasn't separate. It was acrylic gel medium mica flakes. And so what I think I would do is actually get a cup with acrylic gel medium and just dump some glitter in there and mix it around. And I feel like that would work much better. So look into the acrylic gel mediums and different ways you can all get that to blend. Now, Mia, have you heard of Liza Liu, the contemporary artist?
No, but I love this a lot. This is really cool.
Liza Liu does these stunning installations. This is one tiny piece of a piece she made called Kitchen. It does not photograph well, obviously, but this entire room, life size, is basically created like this. Every item is covered. So, of course, we're not expecting this from everybody. But as Ginger said, I mean, you could grab your art prof mug and cover, I don't think you should do that, but you could cover anything with 3D beads. I mean, so much.
The water is amazing in that last photo. Oh my God, that's incredible.
Absolutely. Or some of you want to make sparkly jewelry and put that together. It's any material you can possibly think of that has any degree of bling. And you know something? There's a lot of contemporary artists who are using it because, again, I think that bling and glitter, it's usually associated with fun kids projects, typically in elementary school and everything. But what do you think about the use of bling in some of these contemporary pieces?
I think that it's used intentionally for a purpose. It's not just like, here's some glitter glue, go get distracted for an hour so that I can take a nap, you know? Like we're using this to make a statement and to add another dimension to your piece. And I think that that's really amazing. And it's really effective in so many of these works.
This one's actually digital printout. So if some of you wanted to make a digital piece that has some type of bling effect, I think that would be super fun. Now, this is glitter. Can you believe this?
That's incredible. I've never seen glitter used in this way. It looks like smoke. It looks like something's happening underwater. It looks crazy. I've never seen glitter in this way.
Clara Sue is asking any tips for photographing glitter and bling. Also, would a sewing project using vintage jewelry be okay? Yes. Oh my gosh, I would love for you, Clara Sue, to do a sewing project. For photographing bling, I think whatever type of lighting you're using is very important. For example, if I use one of my pieces of lighting equipment that I use for film shoots versus if I put it outside and I use natural light. Do you have any tips for photographing stuff?
Yeah, I would just say make sure that you take photos from a lot of different angles and positions to make sure that people can see how the bling is interacting with the light, like Clara was saying, and the piece far away, close up. I always just take a ton of photographs and then go through them at the end of the day and pick out my favorites. Never just take one because that will really make your piece dull. And yeah, it's cool to have options to choose from.
I also find that sometimes I see artists using video because they think they have to, especially because of Instagram Reels and things like that. But oh boy, do you need a video when it comes to bling? I know, Mia, you've done not even a reel, but maybe an Instagram story video where you just take the artwork and you do this. Why do you think that's helpful?
I think that like I said before, it's just showing how lighting and position affects how you read the piece. In one of my pieces, I had some gold behind a girl's red hair. And when the light isn't directly hitting it, it looks like it's just part of the orange hair. And then when you turn it, you see that shine and glimmer and you're like, oh, something's underneath there. Like magic is popping out. And it's really exciting. So seeing that in one video, the transition between those two stages, it adds a lot. So yeah, it's really cool to see.
We have an Art Dare Leap use 4 different types of bling. Doesn't have to all be in one artwork. If you wanted to make 2 artworks and there's 3 bling in one and 1 bling in another, that's fun. I'm sorry, I'm just encouraging you to spend more money at the art store. Can't help it. Join the Discord because guess what? There is a channel in there just for the Art Dares, and it is super fun because you all hang out there for the entire month, post works in progress, get inspiration. That is the most fun about the Art Dare. Tell me in the chat if you have hung out in the Art Dare channel and whether that has been fun to see other people's stuff. To officially enter the Art Dare, you want to tag us on Instagram and also use hashtag ArtProfDare. And visit artprof.org. There is content on there that's not on YouTube. And there's information about the Art Dares. If you go into the menu bar, it is under Learn and Create. And if you scroll down, the other thing you can use is our Google form. For those of you who are not on social media, that's another way to officially enter. please join Mia and I in the Discord, in the post live streams channel. We're going to have a chat in there. We can talk more about art supplies that we want to use. Guess what? We are so excited about this. Join our Art School Portfolios group. This is ongoing feedback and voice sessions for MFA and BFA applicants, and it's a seasonal group. It's available between now and the end of March. And honestly, I think out of all the services we provide for portfolios, this is number one, the biggest bang for your buck. And number two, great because it's ongoing feedback. It's not just a one-off critique. Why is that helpful, Mia?
I mean, portfolios, in my experience, have always been, ebb and flow, constantly changing. And to have someone to guide you through your, thought process, or if you're making a big change in your portfolio or you need advice for different schools or yada, 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 it'll be really cool to have almost like a coach for your portfolio and this whole weird experience of applying to art school. So it's totally worth it.
So it's me and TAs that rotate in and out of the portfolio group. So there is information about that on artprof.org. And guess what? I'm so excited that these workshops are running. Oh, I forgot to add the other one, which is food illustration. Sorry. But all 4 of these workshops are running and we do have spots available. And you can enroll either 2 days before the workshop happens or until the workshop fills. And some of these are very close to filling. And I love the workshops. It's super fun. We have such a great time learning and listening to each other. Art Prof has services and we have a podcast. It's available on Spotify, on iTunes, and yeah, that's it. Subscribe to our channel for more tutorials, critiques, and business tips. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.